Ooh, that felt fucking good. Oh. Ooh. Oh, that felt good. That felt good. Nice. Get this all nice and cleaned out. This mess a can of 99% alcohol. Okay. Whoa. Whoa. That was also a little loud. Did not need that loud. Ooh, this stuff's stickier than shit. Pungent. Let's see if I can get this, Oh my god, this stuff is gonna stick up in my grinder so much. I can already tell. Okay. Come on, de-stickify. Don't need it to be so damn sticky. Oh, there he is. Just being a sweet boy. Gotta make sure he's at least nearby, to some degree. He's kind of being a little noisy boy when I went off for my work and shit. He straight up was fucking howling after I left. From what I was hearing. You just be a little howly boy, howling away. Not surprised he knows the ways of howling. And yeah, this just made my grinder so sticky, oh my god. Come on. God damn grinder. Clean this out a little bit here. Get a bowl loaded up and smoked out and all that fun shit. And then, peruse it out for the news. All that fun shit. So let's get this loaded, especially after my bong being all nice and cleaned. That would be good. Plus, I'll probably knock me right the fuck out. Right off into Pluto. Talk of the Kendra MC. What's up? Zip zip. That's blowing up. Freaking honestly, I was kind of thinking about and shit with my wages and stuff. I was telling showing my check stubs and actually kind of comparing them with everybody's. And frankly, I mean, I pretty much have also been able to narrow down to exactly 2 fucking reasons as to why it's happening. Because one, there's always going to be the technical glitch excuse when it comes to when things don't happen in an according manner. And there's also been plenty of other people that have also gotten fucked with some wages too. Like, while mine went to $16.50, there's some others that have went to $17.50, that have went to like just 17 flat, have went to like $17.25. There's been a few others that have gotten their shit fucked too. So it's just like, I mean, they're dragging it on about as long as they fucking can. And then there's a lot of other people that do have their $18.53, which is the actual fucking wage supposed to be. So I just kind of find that a little curious. It's like, I'm not the only one being fucked there. Obviously. I mean, everyone else is. But curious, I'm honestly just kind of finding curious that I'm also ain't the only one when it comes to these wage increases being fucked with by the company on it. So, you know, and at least one of the dudes was telling me about how he only got $1 increase. He was going to say, "You're going to call the rep?" And I'm like, "Yep." "You?" "Yep." So, honestly, there's been a couple others that are like, "Yo, I might even call just for you," you know, on top of you doing that too. Makes me wonder what my coworkers make. I wonder how much they pay the boomer guy who's been here for years but isn't very good. Yeah. And honestly, don't let a fucking company or, like, you know, somebody say that, you know, you can't know what, you know, your other coworkers make. You have every right, you know, like, every worker has the right to know what their fellow coworkers make. I mean, because, frankly, I mean, if there's, like, some very strong favoritism going on with who gets paid what, then that tends to be kind of a problem. So, I mean, figuring out who's getting fucked over with the wages and who's being favored. Definitely could tell me if they want. The boomer guy definitely want it. Yeah. Which he's probably on the whole premise, which has been kind of ingrained into the culture a little bit as well. Not as much anymore, but during his time is never ask a man his salary, a woman her age, and blah blah blah, and all that shit. Management does not like the boomer guy. Apparently he threatened to leave and they started celebrating Lamau. So how come he hasn't left that? I guess maybe his pay is just good. He's like, damn, we can't get rid of him because he makes, you know, because he makes too much. Because now he won't leave. Who else wants them? And or is too lazy to work? Probably the latter. Well, probably actually the former. A lot of companies straight up to keep this guise of, hey, you know, we have staffing issues and there's a lot of unemployment going on. They just don't hire people. They do shit like that, so. Probably the former. And yes, probably also too lazy to work. Cruising some different shit here to pull up. We should all meet up Monday night, figure out camping. Hypothetically, everyone should be available if you're indeed on mid. Yeah, because I'm available after 8 o'clock. Because we're pretty sure they're like a noon to 8. He's a little doodle. What are you doing? What are you doing? Just hanging out, chilling there, bruh. I used to love mids 2018, like 2 to 10. 2 to 10 is not mid, that's like a closing evening shift for me. That's what I do now. I prefer nights at Peter Pit though, mids are too boring there. Because usually it's mostly just kind of covering the people who are in the mornings and at nights. You know, making sure that they're kind of covered with their shit. That's kind of usually how mids work, at least how it is around here with our work. And help with things like production, stuff like that. Kind of be like a substitute cook if need be, you know, while the cook's on their break and lunch and shit as well. Because cooks are usually 9 to 5. Next for me, we're like 5 to midnight or 2 to 7, or 7 to 2. Ugh. Yeah, at least here, nights are just a little different. Oh, I actually want to pull this big thing up here, which I thought was kind of funny. Now my nights are 7:30 to 7:30, which isn't bad, I guess. I mean, that's a full-on 12 hours. Ugh. I mean, to me, something like that would just be fucking brutal. But you get long-ass breaks, so. This would be so hard for me because I would have to get up at 5 a.m. to get to work on time. Jesus. Oh. So I guess in a way, you know, those fucking night shifts are better. I mean, for me, mids would definitely be a lot better because honestly, you know, I'm just given everyone else's schedule, that usually tends to fare better when it comes to hanging out. Usually. So I kind of saw this fun little tidbit of news, which frankly I'm not exactly surprised. But fucking Biden's been sending, of course, you know, Lindsley's program to Ukraine shit, but he's been doing this literally 12 times in a row now. It's like, hey Jack, we don't really got much, you know, we can do here at home, but hey, I have 12 different occasions where I can just casually just send hundreds of millions of dollars worth of weapons over there. I'm pretty sure the first, like, 2 or 3 times were good enough. Because frankly, it's like, I mean, as far as I'm concerned now, like, we shouldn't have any fucking business being there. And doing anything, you know, with that shit. And you shouldn't in the first place. Alright, this one announced, yes. I just wanted to announce he is a one-term president. That's not gonna happen. He's not gonna announce that. He's gonna try to run for re-election, and maybe, honestly, the DNC is probably gonna have somebody be a different VP, so they can have that VP be the president. Likelihood they'll change to vice president, but make sure that Biden runs again so he could just step down once he's inaugurated again. Oh, can't do the job, needs to spend time with family, or, oh, you know, his health, you know, precludes it. They'll have some excuse. Well, frankly, I mean, I definitely do, just because, like, hey, we could use, like, 40 million and, you know, like, here and there that they send off into fucking Ukraine for just, you know, a bunch of people to die and, you know, have far-right paramilitaries acquire and shit. I mean, it's just like, at this rate, I mean, it's like, every little dime can help, you know, here at home and shit, you know, regardless of, you know, at this rate, you know, where it goes to outside of law enforcement, as far as I'm concerned. But if, like, hey, 40 mil can go into, like, infrastructure, healthcare, or this and that, even if it's, like, you know, not as significant, then I mean, whatever. So, I mean, it's just like, fuck, at least it's something, but military industrial complex has to keep making sure they chug out more dollars while everyone else suffers. Who would be the favorite if Biden doesn't run? The field to be wide open. I don't literally fucking know. I mean, frankly, as far as I can see, nobody. Like, there ain't much of a tree, you know, to make out a forest. Booty keg. The bootleg keg. Definitely not Harris. Yeah, like, Harris literally has to cancel, like, events because she can't even sell enough tickets for them. No one wants to see her. So, yeah, no one likes her. I like Buttigieg, maybe. Like, and it's only really if Marianne Williamson makes a run in 2024, I could maybe see her potentially, making some leeway, but she wouldn't be a favorite to the DNC, though. That'd be the problem. So she probably wouldn't even make it far anyway. So it's just like, I mean, Castro maybe? Because he's just another easily replaceable stuff suit that can just kind of be bent to the whim of whatever the DNC wants. What up? What's up? I mean, honestly, frankly, when it comes to national politics, I don't give a fuck. Like, let him run wherever, like, honestly. I ain't gonna vote for him. Or her. So, don't really fucking matter to me. This is gonna be, like, local and state shit that I'm gonna care about. But when it comes to that presidential thing, all I'm gonna write is, like, fucking, it's gorilla or something. Be more likely to give at least my concessions like student loans. I don't know, maybe. Honestly, when it comes to the Democrats at this point, It's just like, they're not even capable of, you know, doing minor concessions, so I'm not getting my hopes up that any of them could. They care more about state and local organizations, put stuff on the ballot. Yeah, that's what I mean. And a lot of people that were running in the primary that got through in the last election for this coming up in the general are, you know, are pretty important too. So local shit, yeah. Like I got no qualms about, you know, people partaking in that, but I do kind of. I mean, it's not like I have qualms about it, but I have qualms about people trying to make me be like, oh, you gotta vote harder, yo. It's like, fuck off, I'll vote how I want, bitch. Oh, but you not voting is just basically giving a vote to the opposition. Oh, your third party vote's actually, you know, a vote for our opposition because we said so. Step on for getting over self-care, yeah. At least share. What you doing, boy? What you doing? Oh, what? What's up, buddy? What's up, buddy? Sweet boy, you. Do you have to sniff my leg all, like, up and down, bro? I wasn't even around, like, chicken or much at all today. Booty. Goofball. I was gonna check his other thing, but see kind of a long video of Kyle how progressive organizations are eating themselves. I'm curious. I'll bite.
Alright, y'all, I have a phenomenal article here from Ryan Grimm.
Phenomenal, huh?
Really highlighting a problem that's been bubbling and festering under the surface for at least 5 years now, probably longer. So this is in The Intercept. It's called The Elephant in the Room. Meltdowns have brought progressive advocacy groups to a standstill at a critical moment in world history. So we're going to go through some of this here.
Meltdowns, huh?
The general gist of it is progressive groups that are supposed to be fighting for various super important issues are currently engaged in infighting, and their eye is totally off the ball. And as a result of that,
isn't it just leftism in general?
Establishment Democrats and the right running rampant and getting victories all over the place. So it's really about how there's a culture of paralysis within progressive organizations that has rendered them completely and utterly toothless. And then that, I'm going to save something for you here at the end, which is really eye-opening about how important this is, and how, in a sense, it almost feels like an op. It almost feels like, you know, there's right-wing infiltration of these groups, or the CIA has infiltrated these groups.
Oh boy, he's going hot take with this. I mean, actually, in a way, he's not wrong. At least, I wouldn't necessarily say maybe like something like the Sunrise Movement is, but there's definitely a lot of far more radical left groups that do get infiltrated and shit. Like, I've definitely seen some of this type of shit myself, you know, to some degree. I mean, they do it to the far right as well when it comes to a lot of fascist groups and shit. They did it with the Proud Boys. You know, it was the same thing with Patriot Front, and recently with Idaho. So it's one of the best ones, actually. Well, I'm saying it as an example. I mean, you know, it's like Sunrise Movement, or, you know, like one of these other different progressive, like, organizations and shit. I don't know all the names of all of them and stuff. They're a lot more effective than most progressive groups. Yeah, I mean, I see their name often, especially around here, considering that, I mean, they easily make a lot of leeway in the PNW, considering most people agree with what they advocate for anyway. or at least enough people to where they have traction. But there's definitely a lot of more minor groups, that are either more radical or more specifically ideological, that just sit. Okay, hold on. That are specifically a little bit more, liable for these things. There you go, buddy. Like infiltration, right-wing co-option. I mean, the whole idea of, like, the, quote, red-brown alliance, is kind of a part of this element of, like, if you let right-wingers in, then, there's going to be more infighting and all this shit, which, I mean, is true. So, I mean, honestly, there is, truth to it, but I just don't know if it's as widespread as people think, and more so just, there are legitimately politically left people that are just very ideological, so to tend to be more tribalized in those type of ideas instead of, being more willing to listen to other perspectives about things. Everyone, if you at your trust or the main organization for Climate Action Day during the same message, yeah. I mean, that's what I like about them. I mean, I was just saying as an example just because of the, it was the first thing that came in my mind.
We're going crazy. But at the very least, the outcome is still the same, whether or not it's right-wing infiltration or CIA infiltration. Even if it is just genuine, sincere fighting among the left, the end result is exactly what the right wants, and exactly what the CIA wants, and exactly what the corporate Democrats want. Because
I mean, considering how a lot of fascist upheaval is happening, and a lot of rise in fascistic influence is happening not just in this country but globally. I mean, yeah. I mean, either way, I mean, it's what they want.
And utterly useless. So let's dive into it here. Everyone acknowledged that Zoom was less than ideal as a forum for a heartfelt conversation on systemic racism and policing, but the meeting was urgent, and a little more than 2 months into the COVID-19 lockdown, it would have to do. During the first week of June 2020, teams of workers and their managers came together across the country to share how they were responding to the murder of George Floyd by police in Minneapolis, and to chart out what, if anything, their own company or nonprofit could do to contribute toward the reckoning with racial injustice that was rapidly taking shape. On June 2nd, one such huddle was organized by the Washington, D.C. office of the Guttmacher Institute, the abortion rights movement's premier research organization. Heather Boonstra, Vice President of Public Policy, began by asking how people were finding equilibrium, one of the details we know because it was later shared by staff with PRISM, an outlet that focuses on social justice advocacy. She talked about the role systemic racism plays in society and ways that Guttmacher's work could counter it. Staff suggestions, though, turned inward, PRISM reported, quote, including loosening deadlines and implementing more proactive and explicit policies for leave without penalty. Staffers suggested additional racial equity trainings, noting that a previous facilitator had said that the last round had not included sufficient time to cover everything. With no black staff in the DC unit, it was suggested that Guttmacher do something tangible for black employees in other divisions. Behind Boonstra's and the staff's response to the killing was a fundamentally different understanding of the movement. For Boonstra and others of her generation, the focus should have been on the work of the nonprofit. What could Guttmacher, with an annual budget of nearly $30 million, do now to make the world a better place? For her staff, that question had to be answered at home first. What could they do to make Guttmacher a better place? Too often, they believed managers exploited the moral commitment staff felt toward their mission, allowing workplace abuses to go unchecked. Okay, so the general gist of this is, when the managers at Guttmacher ask that question, what they're looking for is somebody to say, hey, why don't we take $2 million in the budget, let's say for argument's sake, and donate it towards this group, which is trying to end the war on drugs, which in turn would reduce systemic racism, because as we know, the war on drugs is disproportionately applied to people of color. So that's what they're looking at, like, policy reaction to try to help the entire country and affect the issue.
Okay.
The staff at Guttmacher were like, this is a moment for personal reckoning where we should turn inward and basically critique our own company. Okay? So
I mean, I don't necessarily see wrong with that either. So, I mean, like, it's, yeah, I mean, if that's just something they kind of advocate for, but don't, especially in, like, kind of, like, one area that, and I know DC also has, a lot of different black communities within the city. So it's just like, I mean, it kind of seems like, maybe not necessarily counterintuitive, but, I mean, if it's, like, something you want to help out, with, trying to alleviate and shit, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it just doesn't really seem like that big of a fucking deal to me.
In the eyes of...
It's like, yeah, I mean, why not critique your own fucking company and shit? Like, I literally do it every fucking, like, stream at this point.
Similar moments, staff were ignoring the mission and focusing only on themselves, using a moment of public awakening to smuggle through standard grievances cloaked in the language of social justice. Often, as was the case at Guttmacher, they played into the very dynamics they were fighting against, directing their complaints at leaders of color. Guttmacher was run at the time, and still is today, by an Afro-Latina woman, Dr. Herminia Palacio. The most zealous ones at my organization when it comes to race are white, said one black executive director at a different organization, asking for anonymity so as not to provoke a response from the staff. These starkly divergent views would produce dramatic schisms throughout the progressive world in the coming years. At Guttmacher, this process would rip the organization apart. Boonstra, unlike many managers at the time, didn't sugarcoat how she felt about the staff's response to the killing. Quote, "I'm here to talk about George Floyd and the other African-American men who have been beaten up by society," she told her staff, "not workplace problems." Boonstra told them she was disappointed that they were being self-centered. The staff was appalled enough by the exchange to relay it to PRISM. The Human Resources Department and Board of Directors, in consultation with outside counsel, were brought in to investigate complaints that flowed from the meeting, including accusations that certain staff members had been tokenized, promoted, and then demoted on the basis of race. The resulting report was unsatisfying to many of the staff. What we have learned is that there is a group of people with strong opinions about a particular supervisor, the new leadership, and a change in strategic priorities, said a Guttmacher statement summarizing the findings. Those staff have a point of view. Complaints were duly investigated and nothing raised to the level of abuse or discrimination. Rather, what we saw was distrust, disagreement, and discontent with management decisions they simply did not like.
So it was all just basically trying to be a way to be like, hey, how do we get some personal aggrandizement? So it's like, I mean, it's not necessarily wrong to, like, maybe, take some of the critiques and problems inward too, but you can't necessarily lose focus of, like, external and outward problems. Especially if your institution is something that primarily works with that. And, I mean, but this is basically just a way of, like, how do we just basically use this to do self-centered narcissistic bullshit and basically kind of fuck everything else over for our own personal aggrandizement?
A widely respected Guttmacher board member, Pamela Merritt, a black woman and a leading reproductive justice activist, while the Supreme Court oral arguments in Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization were going on last December. A year and a half after the Floyd meeting, excuse me, I just woke up, so I might sound a little suspect. She offered the most delicate rebuttal of the staff complaints possible. Quote, "I have been in this movement space long enough to respect how people choose to describe their personal experience and validate that experience, even if I don't necessarily agree that that's what they experienced," Merritt said. "It seems like there's a conflation between not reaching the conclusion that people want and not doing due diligence on the allegations, which simply is not true." Boonstra did not respond to a request to talk from either PRISM or The Intercept. The 6 months since then have only seen a ratcheting up of the tension, with more internal disputes spilling into public and amplified by a well-funded anonymous operation called Repro Jobs, whose Twitter and Instagram feeds have pounded away at the organization's management. Quote, "If your reproductive justice organization isn't black and brown, it's white supremacy in heels co-opting a woman of color movement."
What the fuck? Jesus, what is this? Oh my god. Because they, because what? They don't have, like, a few people that aren't, black or brown and shit. I mean, frankly, it's like, as long, like, oh my god. I mean, frankly, it's like, as long as people qualify for a job and can do it basically enough, like, frankly, who gives a fuck? Like, I mean, who cares, literally, like, who or what they look like and how they act and shit, as long as they can just do it efficiently. Well, I guess maybe how they act a little bit, but, like, I mean, I mean, because also you don't want necessarily someone acting like, like, sporadically, just in very hyperactive or some shit where you're maybe doing some sort of basic, like, desk work where you need to just kind of chill and sit or something like that. But either way, it's just like, I mean, it's just like, who gives a fuck? Like, I mean, what is this weird, like, sideswiping shit? Like, oh my god, if it isn't, being, managed by, black and brown people, it is just straight up white supremacy co-opting a WOC movement. It's like, oh my fucking god. Nope. I mean, frankly, like, I just don't necessarily see this as, like, as big of a fundamental problem as it used to be back in, like, 2015 and 16 shit, but it definitely shows how it still is and how it does undermine a lot of the fucking, progress that can legitimately be made on, issues that need to be addressed. Because, frankly, it's like, yeah, there is a lot of systemic racist shit that exists within, the fucking country, in our culture. Yeah, there's, like, a lot of things that, they're pretty misogynistic, in our fucking society and our culture, too. And, and vice versa, down the fucking list and shit. But, just because there's a few things that you personally don't like and you have to do just a fundamental inward shift of just, like, not actually directing the problem, but just doing it for your own aggrandizement, then you're the asshole at that point. If anything, you're actually making the problem worse because you're not actually directly addressing it. You're letting it fester worse. And making it more so your own personal, like, fucking scheme more so than anything. Back to work. Damn. Rip.
to
Rip.
republished on one of its Instagram stories. The news in May 2022 that Roe v. Wade would almost certainly be overturned did nothing to temper the raging battle. Repro Jobs told The Intercept its current budget is around $275,000. See, this is super sketchy, okay? So you have an organization that pops up specifically to criticize Guttmacher, and their posturing is from the left, and they're focusing on the internal disputes. That sounds to me like divide and conquer. That sounds like it could be a right-wing op, or it could be a CIA op. Because they're exploiting these rifts that already exist and making it so that even when Roe versus Wade is about to be overturned, this organization, which is specifically about reproductive rights, is nowhere to be found. That's astonishing, man. Anyway, let's continue.
I mean, honestly, with the whole repo job thing, that definitely sounds a little sus and more like fucking op and shit. Maybe somebody who was a former employee and shit, blew a whistle a little bit, or, or made this public, enough to where, this type of group decided, to kind of prop up and do his fucking thing. Because, frankly, it's just like, seems a little too coincidental.
Biden administration, paralyzed, makes it typical of not just the abortion rights community. Planned Parenthood, NARAL, Pro-Choice America, and other reproductive health organizations had simply been locked in knockdown, drag-out fights between competing factions of their organizations, most often breaking down along staff versus management lines. It's also true of the progressive advocacy space across the board, which has more or less effectively ceased to function. The Sierra Club, Demos, the American Civil Liberties Union, Color of Change, the Movement for Black Lives, Human Rights Campaign, Time's Up, the Sunrise Movement, and many other organizations have seen wrenching and debilitating turmoil in the past couple of years. In fact, it's hard to find a Washington-based progressive organization that hasn't been in tumult or isn't currently in tumult. It even reached the National Audubon Society, as Politico reported in August 2021. Following a botched diversity meeting, a highly critical employee survey, and the resignations of two top diversity and inclusion officials, the 600,000-member National Audubon Society is confronting allegations that it maintains a culture of retaliation, fear, and antagonism toward women and people of color, according to interviews with 13 current and former staff members. Twitter, as the saying goes, may not be real life, but in a world of remote work, Slack very much is. And Twitter, Slack, Zoom, and the Office Space, according to interviews with more than a dozen current and former executive directors of advocacy organizations, are now mixing in a way that is no longer able to be ignored by a progressive movement that wants organizations to be able to function. The executive directors largely spoke on the condition of anonymity for fear of angering staff or donors. Quote, to be honest with you, this is the biggest problem...
Staff or donors, oh my goodness. I mean, frankly, honestly, when it comes to Twitter, maybe Twitter in itself isn't real life, but it definitely can have real life ramifications, most certainly.
Takes years.
I mean, January 6th was definitely a major example of it. A lot of these fucking far-right Christian fascists, that, and a lot of people that enabled their type of fucking shit, like dumbass shoe on head, being like, oh, this stuff's a little weird, guys. It's like, that shit definitely, there's definitely things about Twitter that can have real-life complications and consequences.
It's the elephant in the room, and no one wants to talk about. And you have to be super sensitive about who the messengers are. For a number of obvious and intersecting reasons, my race, gender, and generation, I am not the perfect messenger. But here it goes anyway. For progressive movement organizations, 2021 promised to be the year they turn power into policy, with the Democratic trifecta and the Biden administration broadcasting a bold vision of transformational change.
Yeah, I mean, coming from the Biden administration that said nothing would fundamentally change anyway, go figure. Yeah, anyone who thought that was kind of kidding themselves, or, huffing so much copium they were about to overdose.
$1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan, funding everything from expanded healthcare to a new monthly child tax credit. Republican efforts to slow walk the process with disingenuous counteroffers were simply dismissed. And then, sometime in the summer, the forward momentum stalled, and many of the progressive gains lapsed or were reversed. Instead of fueling a groundswell of public support to reinvigorate the party's ambitious agenda, most of the foundation-backed organizations that make up the backbone of the party's ideological infrastructure were still spending their time locked in virtual retreats, Slack wars, and healing sessions, grappling with tensions over hierarchy, patriarchy, race, gender, and power. Quote, so much energy has been devoted to the internal strife and internal bullshit that it's had a real impact on the ability for groups to deliver, said one organization leader who departed his position. It's been huge, particularly over the last year and a half or so, the ability for groups to focus on their mission, whether it's reproductive justice or jobs or fighting climate change. This is, of course, a caricature of the left, that socialists and communists spend more time in meetings and fighting with each other than changing the world.
Because, unfortunately, honestly, it keeps being true.
Of Donald Trump's presidential election and then Joe Biden's, it has become nearly all-consuming for some organizations, spreading beyond subcultures of the left and into major liberal institutions. My last 9 months, I was spending 90 to 95% of my time on internal strife whereas before that would have been 25 to 30% tops. The former executive director said. He added that the same portion of his deputy's time was similarly spent on internal reckonings. Quote, most people thought that their worst critics were their competitors, and they're finding out that their worst critics are on their own payroll, said Loretta Ross, an author and activist who has been prominent in the movement for decades, having founded the reproductive justice collective Sister Song. Quote, we're dealing with a workforce that's become younger, more female, and more people of color, more politically woke, I hate to use that term in a way it shouldn't be used, and less loyal to the traditional way to a job, because the whole economic rationale for keeping a job or having a job has changed. That lack of loyalty is not the fault of the employees, Ross said, but was foisted on them by a precarious economy that broke the professional social contract that has left workers with less patience for inequities in the workplace. Quote, yeah. All my executive director friends, everybody's going through some shit. Nobody's immune, said one who has yet to depart. One senior progressive congressional staffer said that when groups don't disappear entirely to deal with internal strife, the discord is still noticeable on the other end. Quote, I've noticed a real erosion of the number of groups who are effective at leveraging progressive power in Congress. Some of that is these groups have the organizational culture that things are affecting them, the staffer said. Because of the organizational culture of some of the real movement groups that have lots of chapters, what they're lobbying on isn't relevant to the actual fights in Congress. Some of these groups are in Overton mode when we have a trifecta. The idea, in theory, is that pushing their public policy demands further and further left widens the so-called Overton window of what's
God, the man is so long.
possible, thereby facilitating the future passage of ambitious legislation. Those maximalist political demands can also be a byproduct of internal strife, as organization leaders fend off charges of not internally embodying progressive values by pushing external rhetoric further left. But, the aide pointed out, there is legislative potential now. Quote, there are wins to be had between now and the next couple of months that could change the country forever, and folks are focused on stuff that has no theory of change for even getting to the House floor for a vote. Sunrise is doing their Green New Deal pledge, the aide continued, describing the Sunrise movement-led effort to get elected officials and candidates to sign on to an ambitious climate commitment.
Because at least they're being committed to one issue.
Bill is still on the table. There's a universe where people are on the outside, focused on power and leveraging power for progressives in Congress. Instead, they're spending resources on stuff that is totally unrelated to governing. Nobody says, hey guys, could you maybe come and maybe focus on this? The silence stems partly, one senior leader in an organization said, from a fear of feeding right-wing trolls.
Honestly, even if you dudes do something like that, they'll all, in the middle of their arguing, be like, no, all in unison, and then go right back into arguing. Or you just all start in unison agreeing on shutting you up.
Their language and framing feels like surrendering to malign forces, but ignoring it has only allowed...
It's like, how dare you try to unify your echo chambers?
Fester. The right has labeled it cancel culture or call-out culture, he said. So when we talk about our own movement,
what are you,
it's hard because we're using the frame of the right. It's very hard because there's all these associations and analysis that we disagree with when we're using their frame. So it's like, how do we talk about it? Wow. That's astonishing. They're saying, like, look, we want to call out the bullshit from within our own movement, but if we do it, we'll just be labeled right-wing and dismissed, and it'll further embolden these crazy people. For years, recruiting young people into the movement felt like a win-win, he said.
I mean, frankly, honestly, it's why, just kind of have to move on from it, in a sense, by just, hyper-focusing on, issues that just anybody prioritize, and just shutting it down, honestly, being like, look, this isn't important. It's like, look, that's not an important thing right now. Like, these are the important issues. Like, this could be something that is addressed once we figure, out at least a major game plan that we can work with in this. So it's just like... Really, it's just something that, you just can't fucking, just fuck with. It's like if, a lot of the Christian fascists and shit, you can't, work with them based on any good faith whatsoever, so what's, so why, try, so it's just like, honestly, what's the point of them? If they're, at least when it comes to, far-right types like Matt Walsh shit, motherfuckers, or Patriot Front type motherfuckers. There ain't a point in it. But same thing with these type of fucking people. If they just want to, be more emboldened in their shit and dismiss you as right wing or fucking op or CIA or whatever the fuck, just because you want to hyper prioritize on a very specific issue like climate action or the labor front, and all this other other major issues besides just random personal aggrandizing skullduggery, then fuck them. They're not worth their salt. They're not worth their time. It's just like, some people are just, better off, circling off in their own real, own weird circle jerk more so than, actually being a part of something.
And the chance to give a person a lease on a newly liberated life dedicated to the pursuit of justice. But that's no longer the case. Quote, I got to a point 3 years ago where I had a crisis of faith. I don't even know. Most of these spaces on the left are just not, they're not healthy. All these people are just not, they're not doing well, he said. The dynamic, the toxic dynamic of whatever you want to call it, call-out culture, cancel culture, whatever, is creating this really intense thing, and no one is able to acknowledge it. No one's able to talk about it. No one's able to say how bad it is. The environment has pushed expectations far beyond what workplaces previously offered to employees. Quote, a lot of staff that work for me, they expect the organization to be all the things. A movement, okay. Get out the vote, okay. Healing, okay. Take care of you when you're sick, okay. It's all the things, said one executive director. Can you get your love and healing at home, please? But I can't say that. They would crucify me. Okay, so now this, look, I'm not even halfway through this article. I'm going to stop reading it now. I'm not even halfway through this article. This goes on.
What?
There are more, look at this. There are more examples of
oh
this.
my fucking Christ alive, dude. Like, Jesus, it honestly goes on that long? Fuck, bro. I mean, Jesus, I mean, it really just kind of proves the point, though. It's just like, fuck. I mean, look, I mean, it's just like, basically it just kind of comes into, it's like, hey, when it comes to outside of your own personal, like, space and shit, and you're off in a workplace or out in public or something, you just kind of have to have a little bit of a thicker skin, like, because frankly, there's definitely some shit that for, you know, from some coworkers or, you know, from customers too, even, that frankly, I definitely vehemently disagree with or don't like, but it's definitely not something that I'm like, oh my god, how dare they, I should report that to HR, it's like, because it's just whatever. It's not that big of a fucking deal. Like, you know, if one of them happens to have kind of a little bit of a sexist comment or remark, I'm just like, oh, okay. Well, that's kind of shitty. I mean, I just, you know, end up, you know, talking about it later in a different context about something else or some shit. And kind of discussing, you know, that type of stuff later down the line. Because if I'm just like, yo, bro, that ain't, you know, I'm just like, what the fuck, you know, start calling him out and being, you know, a woke scold, basically. I mean, frankly, that, you know, just create more animosity and just really, if anything, you know, just make the person double down. So it doesn't exactly do much, you know, when it comes to, you know, making a better workplace. It just creates more animosity. Like, if you want to try to create a better, stronger workplace and shit when it comes to things like that, then, you know, it's like, you know, take it on chin a little bit, and then just fucking, just have a conversation about that type of stuff later, like, you know, when it comes up in a different context or something. Because, I mean, honestly, it's just like, I mean, there ain't no real, you know, because there isn't a reason to try to make the workplace just more toxic than it already can be. Like, I mean, it's shit, like, it's already horrible, like, you know, you get, you know, the straw boss that fucking steals off your wages and shit every goddamn fucking day for maximization of their fucking pockets and coffers. So, yeah, and they always have to make sure that they, you know, bark down everything that they want to make sure is done that very fucking day and how they want it. It's just like, the least you could do is at least, you know, try to work together, you know, as co-workers and shit, you know, under the same boat, and try to at least, you know, work to, you know, better not just each other, but also, you know, the general workplace, so you also have unnecessary stress let off your back.
Highly detailed piece with a number of examples.
I mean, frankly, that's honestly how you make a better fucking, you know, safer space at work.
Organizations is horrendous. The progressive movement is eating itself from within. And like I said, it's almost certainly because of the organic culture that has developed on the left, where people have sort of embraced these cancel culture values, where, like, the tiniest infraction and you go off on somebody and treat them like they're your worst enemy. But it certainly feels like a right-wing op, or feels like a CIA op, because this is exactly what they want. This is exactly what they want. So I highly recommend everybody go read the rest of this article. This article is truly phenomenal, and it's a reckoning that's long needed. People have needed to talk about this.
I mean, honestly, I just don't think every type of fucking, you know, movement has, like, literal, like, ops in every single one of them and shit. I just think there are people out there that just legit believe these type of ideas. I mean, it's not like they don't exist, but they tend to be in things that tend to be a little bit more hands-on and a little bit more direct. Like, if there happens to be protests or marches and shit like that. Like, they tend to be more in line with, you know, being involved with shit, with that type of stuff.
I witnessed this firsthand years ago with the creation of Justice Democrats. Because, now, whatever you think of Cenk Uygur now, you know, at the time, he was one of the co-founders of Justice Democrats with me and Zach Exley and Shoykat Chakrabarti. And, you know, the whole idea was supposed to be, this is like the Tea Party of the left. We're going to primary the corporate Democrats. We're going to get in people who are sort of in the model and the mold of Bernie Sanders. And what ended up happening was there was a staff mutiny. Why? Because Cenk Uygur wrote some politically incorrect blogs in, like, the late 90s the things he had already deleted, and they included some crap.
And honestly, like, I even knew about him way before this whole fucking fiasco and shit, and frankly, it's like, well, he changed his ideas, and he's a better person now, so whatever, I didn't give a fuck. Like, and I still don't. I mean, it's just like, I mean, it was literally a mutiny over stupid shit of just like, you know, some random things Jenks said back in the day. It's like, give me a fucking break.
They took it as like, you know, him seriously saying, like, one of the things he said was like, obviously the genes of women are flawed because they don't want to sleep with me more. Now, that was a self-deprecating joke, but people looked at that like rank sexism. And so there was a staff mutiny, and they were
it's a little bit of both. I mean, it was a sexist joke, but also self-deprecating.
Either all of us go, the entire staff
distasteful, but so it's what it was.
Being very selfless, was like, you know what? If it's better for the mission to get more Bernie types elected, fine, I'll go. And then I looked at that and I said, the culture of this place is super fucking toxic. And so you know what? I'm gonna step down in solidarity with him. This is what I witnessed. Shit, what year was this? 2017, 2018, something like that. And what this story is telling me is that this is occurring in every single progressive institution in the country, or progressive organization in the country. And we're at the point where they're stymied. They can't do anything. They're totally feckless. They're totally useless. At a time when Roe versus Wade is being overturned, the Guttmacher Institute isn't there for the fight because they're too busy internally bickering over some bullshit. It's astonishing.
I mean, honestly, this is why, you know, at least when it comes to a labor movement and when it comes to union efforts, you know, to me, this is, you know, some of that tends to be a little bit more important. Just because, I mean, it's a little bit more harder when you have a very set core of issues that, you know, are addressed when it comes to, you know, talking about labor and trying to, like, diffuse from that. It's like, I mean, yeah, because guess what? If you want to make sure you have your space and all this and that and everything in between and shit, then obviously you need to make sure you have money, you know, in your pocket, you know, to make sure you have food on your fucking plate and, you know, a place to live that has that. You know, so it's kind of hard to deflect away from that shit. That, and it's a very growing phenomenon that, you know, just continues to gain more popularity right now. And also is inherently a left fucking idea. So, I mean, at this point, it's just like, I mean, when you got a lot of these different institutions that are just, you know, like stymied and, you know, filled with just this shit, you know, like different back and forth bickering or just do nothings and shit, then you gotta, you know, have something else that's rising, you know, kind of come in and usurp the place.
This right here. This is, Crystal Ball tweeted this, from the CIA's Simple Sabotage Field Manual. Look at the highlighted parts. The CIA has said this. They, you know, hey, this is how you infiltrate and bring down groups. Bring up irrelevant issues as frequently as possible. Haggle over precise wordings of communications, minutes, minutes, and resolutions. Refer back to matters decided upon at the last meeting and attempt to reopen the question of the advisability of that decision. Stunning. Stunning.
Advocate caution, be, quote, reasonable, and urge your fellow conferees to be reasonable and avoid haste which might result in embarrassments or difficulties later on. So, incrementalism, guys. When possible, refer all matters to committees for further study and consideration and attempt to make committees as large as possible, never less than 5. Make speeches, talk as frequently as possible at great length, illustrate your points by long anecdotes and accounts of personal experiences. Interesting. Insist on doing everything through channels. Never permit shortcuts to be taken in order to expedite decisions. Oh my god. Good lord. Gross.
I don't know why she just highlighted this. There's make speeches, talk as frequently as possible at great length, illustrate your points by long anecdotes and account your personal experiences. When possible, refer all matters to the committees for further study and consideration. Attempt to make the committee as large as possible, never less than 5. Advocate caution, be reasonable, and urge your fellow conferees to be reasonable and avoid haste, which might result in embarrassments or difficulties later on. So basically, this is exactly what's happening in progressive groups. And this younger generation of activists has been taught, like, look, any little infraction, any minor little uncomfortability that you feel during the day, that's actually evidence of a larger systemic problem that needs to be addressed. And so you're a hypocrite if you're trying to, like, go to Congress and change laws for the betterment of all of society if you're not cleaning up your own house first. And that means addressing all of the uncomfortable stuff internally here. So let's bicker over our perceptions of racism and sexism and bigotry and toxic workplace environments as the right runs rampant and wins nonstop, and as we're totally stymied and can't do even the most basic things for our policy goals. Well, look, guys, as I've told you before, the only way for a left to ever win on anything is ruthless solidarity. It's the exact opposite of what's going on now.
Yeah, honestly. Like, there needs to be a very ruthless solidarity when it comes to climate action and fucking social justice and, racial justice tied in with that. And fucking workers' rights and labor advocation. Like, I mean, that needs to, like, those, like, major three need to be the big, three things of solidarity that the left needs to just get, on board with, because, I mean, those are pretty much all the issues that, essentially, like, all leftists agree on at least 95% of the time on anyway, so, it's like, what the fuck? What are we waiting for?
Eyes on the prize, and the only thing you care about is policy. That's the only way that the left wins. Everybody's got their eye on the ball, and everybody's got their eyes on the prize. And you're
well, community and direct action too. You can't just focus on nothing but or like, frankly, at this point, especially nowadays, like, community and direct action and shit, is honestly at this rate a little bit more important than just like you're a sponsor and social. It's like, it's because, frankly, as far as I'm concerned, that doesn't really do much until we actually have people in place to enact proper shit, and we'll get it through.
And any sort of internal issues you have, yeah, you can work them out in due time. But you certainly don't drag an organization to a standstill to have these internal debates from now until the end of time while the right takes over the country and corporations run amok. So anyway, phenomenal article from Ryan Grimm. Everybody go read the rest of it. It's really important.
I mean, considering he didn't even get through fucking half of it, it's just like, Jesus Christ, man. I wouldn't even know. So I wouldn't even know how to, like, finish that shit up. I mean, fuck. I mean, honestly, I get the gist of it, though. Because, I mean, it's just like, hey, let's split ourselves up into about, many groups possible. I mean, it's just literally a whole divide and conquer tactic is what it was. And this is definitely, a CIA-style, type of tactic and shit. Though at the same time, because of how much of, at least progressive culture happens to have some of this intertwined into it, there are just legitimately people that do believe in this type of stuff too, and are kind of doing the work of, of, like, say, operators and shit without necessarily having to be one. So, it's just like, it's a fucking really tough pickle and shit, and frankly, I think you just kind of do a little bit worse action, literally calling everyone a CIA op, so it's just like, you can't just immediately go into that type of rhetoric and shit. I mean, if anything, showing how, these type of people, how, detrimental these type of things can be, over time, is something that, would be a little bit more beneficial. Instead of just immediately being like, oh, what, you disagree? CIA up. You were trying to divide everything and destroy everything? Yep, you're CIA up right there, too. What? It's like, it's like, not everything's an op, but, alright. There are some people that just legit believe that shit. Why are you licking the chair, bro? Weirdo. Why are you licking the chair? Is there something about that chair that you like? It's like, you embarrassed me. I'm gonna be over here away from the chair now. Jesus, he ate all that fucking food? I filled that food bowl up pretty good earlier, dude. Jesus Christ. Course smite. Goofball. Man. What are you doing? What are you doing? Stop it! Little freak. The little fruit. My goodness. I saw that. See about the rim little shit is, Oh, I already saw that. Shabibo. Ugh, fucking gross ass Shabibo. I'm so dumb, Shabibo. I'm like really done with these like DIY motherfuckers, honestly, just in general. Because for as small, at least on the internet, as they are, they've been like pumping hard on this whole "what is a woman" propaganda bullshit, like endlessly. They've been going hard on it. I mean, and the most fucked thing about it is there's just a lot of people that, you know, will just kind of, you know, look at that and be like, oh yeah, yes, I do agree with this. But they have to go through a fucking paywall, but most people don't really want to do that. So unless they can find it for free, they're probably not going to go actively search for it. But just the propaganda of it in itself is enough to, you know, just kind of incite the conversation, or at least incite the ideas into their head. So it's just like, ugh, gross. Especially considering it's just like practically like fucking everywhere. People who don't have like YouTube Advanced or YouTube Premiums apparently like everywhere see the fucking ad for it. It's just like, God, ugh. I feel bad for any sad bastard has to see that shit. Grease Trap Part 2. Hot takes on Ukraine. Oh boy. I've already seen it, but I'm more curious about the comments in it. The object of propaganda is neither convince nor deceive, but to create a uniform pattern of public utterance in which the first trace of unorthodox thought would be immediately refuted, so as drawing dissidents. Eh? This is a Stalin quote. I'm pressing exit out on that guy. I usually agree with Paul, but not so much on this. I guess I buy too much Ukrainian propaganda. Oh my fucking god, these fucking people. Totally forgot about our withdrawal from Afghanistan before I watched this video. I haven't watched it and seen the parallels drawn between that and Ukraine. It's made me reevaluate my good attitude towards my nation's support towards this war effort. Oh fucking god. I think the best that could be done by individuals to... yeah, never... Oh my god. Oh my god, dude, there are so many. Oh my god, there are so many. There are so many people just like just having fucking oh my god, dude, the comment sections are filthy some days. On any comment section, they could just be filthy as fuck with just long tangent and arguments. I don't know why I get so fascinated with them though. Probably I get shot at 40 out of it because I observe without them knowing, just like, ha ha ha, all of you people are idiots. Look off, it's so little. Little. I have a truck. I have a little truck. Come here. Come here. Come on. Come on. Get a tweet. Yeah, get yourself a tweet. Yeah. Come here. Oh, Paul, yeah. Up. Stand up. Stand up here. Come on. Up. Attaboy. Yeah. Yeah. No. Oh. Hey, hold on. No, alright. Now come up here. What a goof. What a Goof, come here. Yes, 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 yes. Hold on. Yeah, stay here. Yeah. You baby. There you go. Goofball. Man, what? He's just a little goof. A little sweet goofball. Ooh. Well, check this out, but here, I gotta go to the bathroom really quick, y'all. So, do this. Gonna be just right back here. Here. And boom. There we go. Cool. Also little. Ah, cock. Man, you were just in my way all the time, bro. Goofy boy. I'm check this out. Funniest landlord TikToks. Oh boy. I wonder if these are just gonna be sad little landlords who are just gonna be crying and whining about, like, you know, oh, it's just me having the virtues of being a landlord. Of scalping the hard-earned pay of just people that need to have a house over their head. Yes. In an orc voice. Orc.
Exactly right. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, prices are up across the board. Rent has jumped more than 26% from last year. Food prices are up. We're not just talking about eating out. We are talking about going to the grocery store and eating at home. That is up almost 12%. That's the biggest increase since 1979. Protein really seeing a spike. Eggs up more than 32%. Meat, poultry, fish up more than 14%. And
bro, rent 26%. That's just like, dude, come on, dude. Come on, brother.
Come on, brother. Just pull yourself up by bootstraps just that much more there, brother. Come on now.
How does that not trigger the fuck out of everyone, dude? They didn't even talk about it. They, like, moved on to groceries and eggs. Like, yeah, this shit sucks, too. But, like, really, dude? 26% rent? Yo, I wonder if there's something to do about that, dude. Why is rent up so much?
Oh, I wonder if there's a thing called, I don't know, housing for all. That could be a thing.
It is costing $340.
Did you ask for insider info when buying the EV? Yeah, dude, that's right. I was ahead of the curve on that one, dude. I pulled a Nancy Pelosi's husband on that one. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, meanwhile, hey, your salary, you know how much your salary's up?
I like how no one knows his actual name. He's just known as Nancy Pelosi's husband.
Maybe like 5%. So, oops.
$1 more per month for you to buy the same things you were buying last year, Michael.
Oh, that is the strain on everyone. Thank you so much, Eva.
Oh, yes, the strain on everyone. Oh, everyone just seems to be feeling it.
Hi.
Landlords need to eat too. Yeah, they could eat my dick. How about that? Fucking Christ.
Welcome back to.
They can also eat things that could be theoretically lead-based.
Add value? Is the apartment actually like more valuable now? Did they? Because like, you know, simple economics, right? Like what's going on? Is the apartment actually worth 26% more now? Is there something that justifies that increase in rent?
No.
What happened? Did they actually finally fix the fucking leaky faucet or the AC unit in your apartment? Is that why? Was there a renovation done on the apartment? Or is it that they're trying to make up for all of the fucking lost revenue from when people were like literally escaping the cities? Apartment supply chain problems, my landlord told me.
Dude, landlord problems are just the most, like, fucking feudalistic world problems I've ever heard in my life. It's like, oh yes, the market value of the apartments. Ugh, it's hard to invest these days. It's like, eat a dick, bitch. It's like, invest on this dick, bruh. It's like, how about that for, you know, being a landlord, bitch? It's like landlord all up my ass, bitch.
Meanwhile, your salary's up like 5% if you're lucky. That's cool. Sick. Normal. Cool. The apartments keep you 26% further away from sleeping on the sidewalk. Exactly. And the rent at 26%, motherfuckers be like, it's because landlords need to cover their own inflation. Yeah. Don't forget to tip your landlords, folks.
Huh? Ew. Is that even a concept?
I'm doing my best as a humble landlord to make an honest living and take care of my ungrateful tenants. You're not creating any value for society. Can you please fix the leak in my bedroom? I haven't slept in weeks. I'm begging you. Please stop coming in.
They're so small. Boo.
You check in on my
You couldn't full screen them?
Must be nice. Must be nice to be rich and have no problems.
No problems. ADHD. Neurodivergency. Every minute a war wages within my mind. 1 minute I can focus, the next, not as well. We are people too.
You're doing my best as a humble landlord to make it honest living and take care of my ungrateful... Dude, get fucked. Yeah, I know, like, I could go, like, if you're ADHD and, hey, it's hard to, you know, keep up with your shit, then don't be a landlord, you fucking filthy filcher. Like, Jesus Christ, like, hey, we're people too. It's like, yeah, because legally you qualify for it. Like, technically, no. Legally, yes.
This is an absolute banger. Absolute fucking banger from Sahib Can't Sing. Rentoid Funko Pop enthusiast. My luxury apartment complex had amenities such as a bowling alley, automated package room, and free strollers just 3 years ago. The new management company came in and now charged 99 years for amenities fee, and they took all of the amenities away. Oh man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you no longer have a bowling alley. Wait, are you serious?
Dude, the place has a bowling alley, and then they're like, oh, we're gonna take that out now. Dude, fuck those people. I mean, fuck those landlords, man. Dude, if I was a landlord, at the very least, I'd keep a bowling alley, even if it was just for myself. It's like, yeah, I'll let you all use it, but if I want to use it, you're all keeping the lane open for me. What sad fuck would take out a bowling alley at an apartment?
Not Sahib.
What fucking little freak munch? I want to... Oh, he full screens this one. This one here.
Cover up any nails. Don't worry, paint over it, no one won't know.
Yeah, people will. What? Don't worry, paint over the nails, nobody ain't got no diet. It's like, what, you think people are actually, like blindly dumb? What?
Paint over the old outlets and make them brand new again.
Or, you know, you could fucking just wipe them down, you know, clean them up a little bit, and then maybe give them a repaint, or maybe, I don't know, replace just the outlet, because I don't know, how much would that be at, like, what, Home Depot? Like, what, $10, if that? For just a basic, simple little plastic one like that? Oh my god, dude.
Go over any wallpaper with paint. Fine, the bugs will be there for a while. Just paint over it.
This has to be a parody, dude. No shot, dude. There's no way. Oh my god, it's like, hey, you happen to find a little bug, just paint that bitch too. Like, yo, no, dude, this can't be fucking real. This can't be real, dude. This has to be a parody. Paint over any chipped wood and make it new again, straight from IKEA. That's not how that works. Oh my god, dude. What a cheap, filthy little fucking bastard, dude.
Any chip wood and make it new.
Oh my god, it's still chipped off, dude. That you would literally see the indents. Oh my god, yo. Dude, what? This has to be a parody. This can't be fucking real.
IKEA, getting that landlord special.
Dude, now, yeah.
Getting that landlord special,
now,
yo.
Your cost went up 26%.
It cost went up 26% now.
This is
I painted over everything.
Hell yeah.
Did I replace any of it? No.
I love that. My rent was raised $500 per month this past renewal, and they wouldn't negotiate. Yeah, of course they wouldn't. Why would they, dude? They need to eat too. Landlords need to eat as well, brother. They're having a hard time.
They're people too, even though, I mean, really, there's nothing that really qualifies them for it. But, you know, hey, they are. Like, oh my fucking god, dude. Jesus Christ. They can't be the only one. Oh my god, there's more. Yes. Dude, give me these. I love these. I'm loving these.
Hey, Devin. Landlord privilege, thought I'd just pop in. Mind if I grab a seltzer water?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks, bud. Now, this is a good fridge. High quality.
Yeah, I mean, it leaked before and we had to get that fixed, but...
Is this like landlord just recording this guy just like, yo, landlord privilege, I'm just gonna kind of like waltz into your property, take a seltzer, and why is it, dude, is there like, what the, this can't be legal, what the fuck? I'm hoping this is just his friend making a meme.
Fridge thing.
So it's to the left here.
Oh, okay.
Right
Looks fine to me.
Right, yeah, it's not leaking like right now.
The leak sort of seems like something that's out of my control. Yeah, this kind of shit happens all the time.
Right, and then the roaches and stuff.
Well, the roaches, you don't want to kill those. The roaches eat other smaller insects and pests, right? You don't want to fuck with that. Man to man, you don't want to fuck with this ecosystem. Did you fill out a maintenance ticket?
Of what?
In the portal? Check out the portal. Someone's dad didn't pay the pet fee that we have, the $150 monthly pet fee that, we require for pets and animals.
Since when?
So it's been something we started a month ago. One of the hardest jobs in the world. That's a lot of people don't tell you, being a landlord.
Oh my god. Okay, this has to... Okay, I'm assuming that one has to be a meme. There's no way that was a meme, dude. Because honestly, like, the dude... I don't know. That looks like a meme. I like it, though.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's fucking fire, though. I like
portal,
it.
Dude. I love the maintenance ticket portal. Oh, God. Oh.
There's another one, right? I think. Is that another one? What is this?
Look at that, dude.
What the fuck?
That's a bug that's, he's just doing a fucking dance.
To just dancing? It's just painted over? Dead dancing? Yo.
Bro, I don't understand.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. Hello, my ragtime gal. Like, dude, that's literally what is going on there. No way, dude. Dude, this fucking landlord killed this fucking bug. And before it went into rigor mortis, straight up, like, fucking was messing with its legs so it would do that. Like, oh my god, that's exactly what happened. I swear to god, there's no shot.
And you sit there and you say, that's fucked up? Really? That's literally modern art, dude. Are you kidding me?
Dude, that's what the landlord, I guarantee you, someone's like, what's this? It's like, that's just some modern art decor. It's like, that looks like a dead roach that was painted over. It's like, no, that's some modern art. It's like, oh god.
Not a bad thing. That's value added.
That's a value added, no?
That's where the 26% rent increase
comes. And hey, guess what? If you can't afford food, that's some extra protein if you can ship it out.
From, dude. What the fuck? Wow. Wow, you just don't even appreciate that shit, dude. That's a dancing cockroach. And you're over here, instead of appreciating it, saying, wow, that's fucked up.
I mean, it is. I mean, it is kind of fucked up, but, I mean, I can kind of appreciate it a little bit, though. I mean, honestly, I would actually... I would at least have a picture of it, at the very least. And obviously this person did, but I would want it gone. Like, I wouldn't want to keep that there. Maybe, like, cut out, like, a chunk. Maybe just kind of cut out, like, a little chunk of it. Maybe have, like, a couple more that are painted over as well. And then make it all, like, a little scene or some shit. Like, then it could be an art piece. But, I mean, not in a place that I'm trying to fucking rent out and live in. Let it be in a museum or something.
The area, oftentimes several hundred higher than the average rent. My girlfriend's becoming my landlord. Well, at least you can fuck your landlord.
Let's open up just a little more. Hey, we got a couple of good ones. I feel like the last two, though, were kind of memes. The second one, like the first one definitely is real. Second one, I question it, but honestly, especially that last one, I'm starting to think that it's more legitimate. The last one was more of a joke. That one strikes me as a meme. Oh, someone's responding to my comments. I love this one too. I love this type of class. Or not class, fucking comment. I was actually doing another Hassan video about the gun legislation, or yeah, that was going to be enacted. Maybe, maybe not. But this person's just like, you should have to go to school for at least one full year of non-remote classes, paid out of pocket, sign up by any experienced military trained officer. I understand why people are not forced into this. We normally force or coerce people into take a driving class in U.S. Coerce? That's, what? Okay. Yo. Honestly, it's just like, 1 year is a bit absurd. You can achieve the same in 1 month of training and testing. No one needs to be trained like a little military operator. Just, yeah, this is me. Just enough to know their firearm, won't be an idiot, and won't harm themselves and others with it. 1 year, what would it be during that period? Lol. Firearm boot camp and hospital training, of course, obviously. Oh god, you replied too. Oh my god. Oh man, here we go. Oh no. I already read like the first sentence and I'm already not liking it. You are forced by law to attend school at a minimum of 8 years of your life. It's like, I'm technically not. My parents are forced to make me go to school by law. Or else they would face legal consequences. So, wrong. What's another 1 year dedicated to those who want to live by the gun? Oh my god. Yo. Like, not every person that wants to get one wants to, quote, live by it, you fucking weirdo. This person doesn't even, like, I guarantee you this is, like, one of those people that kind of annoy me a little bit, that don't know anything about guns, but yet want to, like, I mean, just try to dictate others on how they're about. It's like, bro. You should have to be inconvenienced to own it. It's like, okay, I don't, like, I literally advocate that, but not in the weird ass way that you think. Everyone else, quote, like, firearms percentage goes up by small type of gun up in their presence. Okay. And that's when we don't have responsibility and actual, you know, proper accessibility with that. Because that's the reason why. Like, there are other countries that do have guns that don't have that same problem. The owners of these guns share no risk and low consequence. What's the sir news we're living under these conditions? I don't disagree, but you're fucking, like, but I love how this dude is conflating this idea of just like, oh, you know, these conditions are absurd, so let's try to make it like 1 full year of just, I don't even know, like, it's like, what would you even do in a full fucking year of, like, what, training and shit? So what, basically be like some milsim operator or something like that? Like this dude's like firearm boot camp and obstacle courses, obviously. It's just like, okay, like what? Like we're going to like fucking military boot camp or some shit? So what? What? So basically anyone who wants a gun, just go to the military? So what? Just go to the service? Is that what people are implying here? The other dude seems like it's kind of memeing a little, but this other dude, like, oh my god, what a chuckle fuck. It's like, hey, guess what? I don't disagree with your sentiment, but your ideas are in the wrong ballpark there, bucko. Wrong ballpark. So, good lord, Dios mío, some people. And honestly, it's like, I don't even necessarily mind having, like, you know, obstacle course training necessarily when going for firearm training and shit. I don't even necessarily mind that. But you don't need a full fucking year of that shit. Like, I mean, you could do that, you know, within a 1 month period. Like, you know, let there be, like, a 2-week background check, waiting period and shit, you know, for the testing, quizzing, and then have, like, the last 2 weeks before you totally have it in your possession. Be, you know, training and operating with it and getting more familiarized with it. You know, like, and make it in totality a 1 month period. There you go. I mean, if it has to be a little longer, okay, but, you know, make it at least about that average. It doesn't have to be like a full fucking year, like, Jesus Christ. It's like, it's still an inconvenience, but Jesus Christ, like, I mean, we don't have to, like, wait, like, an eons, you know, just for, you know, one fucking little thing. I mean, it's like, and honestly, it's like I could say the same for a lot of different shit, like passports and, you know, and a lot of other stuff. Like, it should be more streamlined while still having those set inconveniences, you know, that are in place and shit, where you can still get it at the end of the day. But, I mean, fuck. Because passports, it takes, like, what, like 6 to 7 months of just, like, you know, jerking the feds off and just being like, I'm just gonna sit here and wait until you give it back to me and, you know, approve my passport. It's like, ugh. Ugh. Gotta love it. Some people just gotta love it. I'm definitely gonna have to make a response to that dude. Because frankly, I didn't. It's very rare for people to actually respond when I comment on somebody and be like, bruh. Report. Prominent Republicans are done with Trump. It's like, go figure. A lot like there's the whole old guard GOP that don't necessarily like him, but are okay with his ideas because they also share the same ideas. It's like, yeah. Honestly, it's not exactly the biggest revelation, nor is it exactly really that big of news. Like, come on, Kyle. Popo. Poppy. Come here, boy. Look at Zero. You sweet boy. Sweet little baby boy. Yes, he is. Yes, he is, little boy. Is there like something that's on you that you're trying to find? Like you were like... what are you doing? Goofball. Come here. Come here. Boy. Oh my god, you little fucking Fruit Loop. You're a damn fruit. I'm just gonna stand there weirdly, staring off into space, or you're gonna come over here. Come here, boo. You know what? I'll give you one more little treat in hopes that you do. Come on. Sit. No, sit first. Good boy. Paw. Yeah, boy. Up here. Up. Yes, baby. Yes, little baby. Little baby. Little baby. Hold on. You can get it. Come here. You can get it. Baby. You sweet little baby. There you go. I can give you a little hug and stuff. A little weirdo. Can't accept a hug? He's just a little goofball. Just sweet little baby. Anyway. I think I'll get this one last little bowl right here cashed out. All good for the rest of the evening. Really. Some of the fucking bowl just fell right back out. That's just convenient. Nice. Nice. It just means I blow the bowl too much. Jeez, you just ate all that up. Damn. Crazy little mutt. Anyway. Call it good for the last little bit of evening, so peace out. Of course, probably be back around in the afternoon, so